Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Mm. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, All Saints Day. And within the writing community, it is officially the beginning of National Novel Writing Month, affectionately known as NaNoWriMo. Nobody asks me anymore if I'm going to do NaNoWriMo. Because I was about to say I often get asked, but I don't get asked anymore. Probably because my answer is always no. And there are multiple reasons for this. And I'm going to spend today's episode talking about NaNoWriMo, talking about what's good about it, what's the things to watch out for, and some tips and tricks for going about it. So for those of you who are aspiring writers and are planning to try National Novel Writing Month for today or the first, sorry, got distracted by my mom texting. Hang on. My mom's on emergency breakthrough, so her text chime, even if I have it on Do Not Disturb. So anyway, I'll start with the reasons that I personally don't do NaNoWriMo, which ties into why it's useful. The reason I don't is I already have a writing habit, and I don't mean that to sound smug. Kind of does, doesn't it? I already have a writing habit. But that is the key thing that NaNoWriMo is useful for, is learning to build a writing habit that consists of producing regular work in order to reach a goal, regardless of what that goal may be. Now, if you don't know how a NaNoWriMo works, the semi-arbitrary goal, and I know it's semi-arbitrary because I talked to the guy who started it up originally, is to write 50,000 words in 1 month, and in the month of November specifically. So, when he started it up, and I can't think of his name offhand, I should look it up before I do these podcasts, but hey, that's not how we roll here at First Cup of Coffee. He thought November was a great month because not much else happened, which I've always found funny because clearly he's not the one cooking Thanksgiving dinner here in the U.S. and he is American. It's like, how can like the week-long festival of family and food count as like not much going on? It's a guy thing. And I know a lot of you guys out there do help with the cooking and family, and bless you, thank you. Anyway, we won't spend a lot of time on that. And he thought that 50,000 words was a nice round number that would get you started on a novel. For reference, very, very few novels are that short. If you are wanting to write a novel that readers will consider to be of sufficient length, if you're going to self-publish or if you want to send it to trad, traditional publishing. I said trad the other day, having cocktails with friends, and my writer friend translated for her husband, traditional publishing. And then he was like, I've been around Jeffy long enough. I know what trad means, which I found funny. If you want to send it to trad, usually at least 80,000 words. Most books are 80 to 120,000 words. There's, outliers on either end, but especially for beginning writers, 80 to 85 to 90,000 words is a real sweet spot. If you don't count by words, I use Word, and you can bring up the little box that shows you how many words and characters and so forth. Most people have about 275 words a page. So we could run the quick math on that. If we say 85,000 is the ballpark number, and 275, mine's a little more dense. That's 310 pages, 309 pages. Yeah, I said to somebody, we were talking about words per page and what I'd gone through, like before there were word processors, because I'm that ancient. or before it was easy to figure out how many words were in a book. I actually typed in pages to figure it out. And I tend to have around 287 words per page. I'm noticing my Airs of Magic novella, Long Night of the Radiant Star, is 271. Um, let's see, what's this book? I do track it for each book. Oh, well, we won't spend a lot of time on that. Anyway, my people have pointed out that my books tend to be more word dense on the page. One friend of mine who later became an editor or founder of a publishing house actually um, said that I didn't have enough white space on my pages. And I was like, sorry, we all own who you are. So NaNoWriMo, great for building a writing habit. If you're a longtime listener, you know that I'm a proponent of writing every day, writing at the same time every day if you can. I know that this doesn't work for everybody, but it worked for me. I resisted the advice for a long time, but it was what finally made a huge difference for me in being able to sustainably produce work. And so every time somebody says to me variations of that I write really fast, that I produce really good work consistently, for me, it always comes back to building this writing habit. And when I started out trying to write every day, the only time I could write every day was in the wee hours before work, and I was not a morning person. But I got up at 4:30, 5 o'clock and wrote for 2 hours before I went to work because the rest of the day I could not count on reliably writing. And over time, it built the habit. And now I write 5 days a week because I write full time. I don't have a day job anymore. So I can do that. And I generally write for over the course of about 4 or 5 hours every morning, 5 days a week. I take weekends off I do 1 hour writing sprints with a break between 20 minutes to half an hour. And that's pretty consistent for me. I try to write 3,000 words a day. It definitely is a training to get up to that level of being able to write that much every day. That's the other thing that NaNoWriMo is good for, is that it does teach you to simply put the words on the page and just get them down without spending a lot of time going back, editing, overthinking, all of these things. So now that I have my writing habit, it's something that I guard very, very carefully. I don't fuck with my writing habit, and I don't allow anybody else to mess with my writing habit. It's funny for me because I'm like going on a writing retreat the week after Thanksgiving, and the main thing, and it's in Hawaii, so it's going to be awesome and beautiful. And I'm just mostly afraid that I'm not going to get my word count done that week because I'm going to be out of my habit. So I'm being zen about it because I get to go to Hawaii and hang out with cool writer friends. So, building a writing habit, they say, the ubiquitous they say that it takes 30 days to build a habit. So November, 30 days of November is useful for building that habit. If you can, get yourself so that you establish a schedule and repeat it for 30 days, you'll find that it's really helpful so that the habit begins to drive the behavior. That's the great thing. We all know about habits that are bad habits that are incredibly difficult for us to break. This is building a really good habit that's difficult to break, and that's what you want. This is why, even when I'm thinking about that I get to go to Hawaii and do these wonderful things, I feel that burn of, but will I be able to satisfy my habit? Will I be able to write when I want to write and get the words down and do my thing? That's the driving force of habit that you want. uh, having the writing habit helps you overcome the dread and procrastination, the I should be writing, but I don't feel like it, um, like I can't find time to write, all of these things that get in the way. So, one of the drawbacks of doing NaNoWriMo is that a lot of people do it only for the month. They get very focused on the competition, on the winning, on getting the 50,000 words, and then they don't extend that into a long-term writing habit. And I mean, I guess if that's all you want, that's fine. But as I mentioned, 50,000 words really isn't enough for a book. There's a lot of work to be done after that, revising, editing, polishing, critiquing. We won't go into all of that, but nobody, I want to say nobody, and I don't like to make absolutely sweeping statements, but I'm going to go with nobody. Nobody comes out of NaNoWriMo, especially the first time, with a viable novel that's ready to go. Okay. What you come out of it with is knowing that you're capable of writing that many words and being able to do it regularly. Now, one thing that can happen to a lot of people is they get very excited at the beginning of the month. And everybody can do the math. They do the thing where they divide 50,000 words by 30 days in the month, and they come up with 1,667 words and a fraction. Uh, and that if you do that every day, then you'll end up with 50,000 by the end of the month. And then some people get super excited and they write way more than that earlier in the month. So you'll see people saying, "Oh, I won." And I won't get into the whole competition thing. Well, I might if I get to the end. But I feel like competition is not useful for creativity. So the whole I won NaNoWriMo, it makes people feel good. Um, is it meaningful? You know, ultimately, it's not, doesn't mean anything. You didn't actually win anything except that you achieved a goal you set yourself, which is totally worthwhile. So, yeah, some people love to win early, uh, but if we go with the Jeffy principle that the main benefit, the primary benefit of doing NaNoWriMo is to build a writing habit, then doing NaNoWriMo in a way where you produce a whole lot of words very quickly and then crash and burn goes against that principle. So you've actually not accomplished anything other than the feeling of having won. So a lot of this depends on what you want to accomplish, right? Everything's what you want to get out of this. Why are you doing what's meaningful? So what I think people should do, what I do myself when I've been out of the habit of writing, like if I've been revising or if I take time off, is I approach it like training for physical exercise. And one of the principles that you'll always hear from people who do physical training is if you have been lethargic or slothful or ill or whatever, and you decide to take up a training program, is you do not go at it too hard too fast, right? We all know people who've done that. It's a fairly standard story of people who go out uh, and run 5 miles, or they go and they lift all sorts of weights, and they in their enthusiasm completely overdo, and they're completely wrecked the next day. They're exhausted, and then they don't want to do it again. Not only have they hurt themselves, but they've also damaged their enthusiasm, right? So I'm going to put this in the show notes. I've posted it to social media. I have blog posts about this. But what I suggest that people do is approach NaNoWriMo like starting an exercise regime. I think it's really important to try to find a consistent time of day that you can write, that you'll be able to do it. A lot of people at day jobs do that over their lunch hour, spend half an hour writing over their lunch hour. It doesn't have to be a lot of time. It's much more important that it's a consistent time in order to build the habit. Once you've built the habit, then you can screw around with your schedule. But to begin, to make it the absolute easiest thing to do for yourself, do it at the same time every day. Uh, and for that first day, for today on November 1st, and I have to, I guess I closed this. Hold on a moment. Okay. I have to set it up so I can see it. What I suggest is, like for today, day one, November 1st, write 100 words. Pick your time, sit down, write 100 words, and then stop. You will want to keep going, almost certainly. Don't. One of the tricks to working toward a particular word count, and I say this after tracking my own productivity for probably a dozen years now, is a little bit longer actually. Scary. Uh, I, and for those who don't know me, I have 61 published titles at this point. Okay, so I've written a fair number of books, and I've been tracking my productivity. And one of the things that I've discovered is if I write to my word count goal and stop there, even if it's hot, especially if it's hot, then that's ideal, because that leaves that creative energy for the following day. If you stop where you're hot, it's much easier to pick it up again the following day too. Resist the temptation to keep going. That's a way of sort of training yourself like you're training a puppy, right? Give yourself a treat. You get to stop. Second day, do 200 words. It's going to feel easy, and that's the point. This is the equivalent of starting out your marathon training by taking walks around the block, which is like what all the exercise apps will have you do, right? You gradually build. Day 3, 300 words. Day 4, 400 words. Day 5, 500 words. At this point, you'll start to feel warmed up and be like, oh, okay, I can do this. Then I start adding it in different increments. You could do whatever increments you want. This is just the suggested schedule. Then you start going up by 250 words a day. Until by day 11, you're doing 2,000 words a day. On day 16, 2,100 words a day. On day 22, you go up to 2,200 words a day, and you stay there. And if you do that, if you follow this schedule, then you will end up with 50,150 words by day 30. And I would resist the temptation to compete with the people who are like, I wrote 10,000 words this weekend. It doesn't matter what they wrote. What matters is you building the habit. You want to come out of this with an idea of what you can do so far as writing every day. If you have, day job and family and little kids and all of these things, if you can write 100 words a day, by the end of the year, you will have written 300,000 words, right? It's sort of, like financial stuff, if you save a little bit every day, it accrues over time. And that's a way to go about it, as opposed to the get rich quick model, the write a novel fast model. So that's what I advise. You can play with the math. If you feel like, for some people, 2,000 words a day is a sustainable model. You could ramp up a little bit quicker and just get to 2,000 and then try to stay at 2,000 for the rest of the month. It's really up to you. You can play with it. You can play with it in different years, because this is not the be all and end all. So I'm going to just check my notes real quick, because I thought I had something. Oh, I did have something else to talk about, but I won't get into it today because I used up all of my time. And I will not be on for the rest of the week. I am headed to World Fantasy Convention on Thursday. If you are registered, I will be teaching a class on identifying and breaking bad writing habits, which will include some of this stuff about building a writing habit. I'm teaching that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And if you are registered for the conference, you can join in at sort of the beginning of the hybrid section of the conference. If you haven't registered yet for World Fantasy Convention, I think you still can and enjoy it virtually. I'm only a member. I don't run anything with it, so I don't know any of the details that way. So anyway, I'll be gone for the rest of the week in fabulous New Orleans, but I will be back on Monday, and perhaps we will have the fabulous Kelly Robson joining me for the podcast because she's going to come visit me for a few days. So on that note, I'm going to go work on this novella, which is still not done. Speaking of producing sustainably and creatively, alas. All right, you all have a wonderful Tuesday. If you're doing NaNoWriMo, go you, good luck, wishing you wonderful discoveries. And I will talk to you all, I guess, probably next Monday. You all take care. Bye-bye.